Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 358 based on novel. So let's start. The crack on the restriction was like a scar, and it was rapidly healing. It won't be long before it heals completely. Once that happens, unless one uses that many treasures to destroy it again, then they would be sealed inside for eternity. There was a small mountain inside the crack. Master Ashenpine moved like lightning toward the peak with the woman in green behind. The two of them were very fast and instantly arrived near the peak. There was a 200-foot-tall stone gate in the middle of the peak with a lightning-like mark carved on it. This is the location where the beast souls are sealed. Master Ashenpine sent out a message with his divine sense as he arrived next to the gate. He then took out a silver pendant that was shaped like a bolt of lightning. He threw it and the pendant flew at the gate while giving off a harsh, silver glow. At the same time, the lightning mark on the gate also released a silver glow as if it was calling the pendant. Just at this moment, a thunderous rumble echoed and the huge, stone gate slowly opened. Large amounts of dust scattered everywhere. The moment the stone gate opened, roars that could pierce the soul came from inside. The roars from the beast souls turned into an indescribable divine sense that quickly spread out. Fellow cultivator Zhao, time is of the essence. You take the beast souls. I want to take a look at the Tao scripture. Master Ashenpine clasped his hands at the woman in green. If fellow cultivator Zhao is interested, how about going with this old man? Maybe you will gain enlightenment. The woman in green pondered a bit and then slowly shook her head. Master Ashenpine no longer asked. He flew toward the top of the mountain. Although he hadn't been here before, the map he had obtained clearly marked where the Tao scripture was. The eyes of the woman in green lit up as she stared at Master Ashenpine and frowned. She didn't believe what Master Ashenpine had said, but there was no flaw to be found in his words. The beast soul fluctuations proved that what Master Ashenpine had said was true. There was a large amount of beast souls sealed inside this place. After pondering a bit, the woman in green arrived next to the gate. Her divine sense spread out inside and her eyes revealed a strange light. After placing down a series of restrictions, she stepped inside. As for Master Ashenpine, he had already arrived at the top of the mountain. He looked down and watched the woman in green entering the cave, and he sneered. I didn't lie. There is indeed a large amount of beast souls sealed inside. I'm not afraid of you not going in. Even if you had secretly followed me, it would have been fine. He withdrew his gaze and his right hand formed a seal. Rumbling sounds came from the stone gate as it quickly closed and was sealed tightly. The angry roar of the woman in green came from within as well as the sound of something pounding the gate. Master Ashenpine knew he didn't have much time. Once that crack closes, it will be very difficult to leave. He stood at the top of the mountain and took a deep breath. There was excitement on his face. He had waited for this day for a long time. He stood there and lifted his hands before kneeling down. Then his hand pointed at the sky and he began reciting a strange chant. This chant was very strange, and it was impossible to hear what he was saying. However, as he spoke, the seven-colored light in the sky became even more intense. It penetrated the fog and directly landed on the mountain. The light circled above Master Ashenpine before turning into a rainbow bridge that extended to the void ahead. Master Ashenpine suppressed the excitement in his heart and moved across the bridge. At the end of the rainbow there was a seven-colored vortex in the void. Master Ashenpine walked into the vortex. The vortex was filled with chaos and with seven-colored light. This light came from a giant, stone tablet. It gave off an indescribable pressure that made it feel like anyone who entered had to worship it. Master Ashenpine was no exception. He knelt there and began to mutter. Runes immediately appeared around him until they condensed around his eyes like a seal. A moment later, he raised his head and looked at the stone tablet. There was a skeleton at the bottom of the stone tablet. Only the upper half of the body remained, and its two hands were nailed onto the stone tablet with seven-colored nails. It was the skeleton of a cultivator. In this world filled with seven-colored light, His skeleton didn't change at all but instead gave off a black glow. There were faint words engraved on the bones. These words were tiny and were densely packed all over the skeleton. There was a circular formation several dozen feet wide, and there were countless runes carved into the circles in the formation. At the center of the formation, which was directly below the spine of the skeleton, there was a jade bottle. When Master Ashenpine's gaze landed on the jade bottle, greed filled his eyes. He knew that the words on the skeleton was the Tao scripture, but he would never look at it. Everything he had said was merely to fool the old woman in green. Once you see the Tao scripture, you become an enlightened one. I'm living well, so why would I come here to die? He licked his lips. His real purpose for coming here was the jade bottle under the skeleton. At this moment, a flash of black light came from the spine of the skeleton and a drop of black, blood-like liquid came out. It landed in the jade bottle, causing a boom. Master Ashenpine charged at the skeleton and arrived next to it in an instant. His right hand immediately reached out for the jade bottle. However, just as his right hand touched the bottle, Master Ashenpine's body trembled and a large amount of white gas came from his body. The white gas was absorbed by the bottle. However, Master Ashenpine didn't panic, as if he knew this was going to happen. His right hand reached to the side and his storage space opened. Origin souls began flying out of it. In just a moment, more than 1,000 origin souls flew out. They were all sealed, and there was a thin line connecting them all together. The moment these origin souls flew out, Master Ashenpine recited a strange chat and his left hand grabbed an origin soul. The origin soul immediately trembled and dissipated, but then another one began to tremble. In just 10 breaths of time, nearly 1,000 origin souls dissipated into white gas and were absorbed by the jade bottle. At the same time, Master Ashenpine bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a blood mist. Shortly after, 4 rays of light came out of his mouth and formed 4, palm-sized, golden swords. They stabbed toward the circular formation around the bottle. The moment they landed, the blood mist entered the 4 swords. Popping sounds were heard when the 4 swords stabbed into 4 different parts of the formation. Just at this instant, Master Ashenpine let out a roar and lifted his right hand. He pulled up the jade bottle and quickly retreated. He laughed like crazy and waved his left hand as he retreated. The 4 swords immediately flew out, but he didn't collect them, he let them fly out to the 7-colored world. Fellow cultivator Zhao, have you seen enough? The void twisted and the beautiful middle-aged woman appeared. Her hands formed a seal and countless restrictions appeared before her. The restrictions formed a vortex and stopped the 4 swords. However, the 4 golden swords were extremely strange. The moment they touched the vortex, they melted into golden liquid and bypassed the restriction vortex. They then shot straight toward the woman in green. The expression of the beautiful woman in green changed and she retreated once more. The golden liquid immediately shattered into countless drops of golden rain and rushed at the woman in green from all directions. Fellow cultivator Zhao, although I don't know how you escaped, you shouldn't have followed. This is where the Tao scripture is, so observe well. Master Ashenpine laughed like crazy. He was about to step out from the 7-colored world and return to the mountain using the rainbow. Once he returned to the mountain, he would immediately leave this place. The crack on the restriction would soon heal and the beautiful woman in green would be trapped here forever. Only by giving up her body and comprehending the Tao scripture would she be able to leave this place. But at that point, she would be no different from dead and would become one of the enlightened ones. However, just at this moment, a cold snort appeared and a figure appeared before Master Ashenpine. This person also wore green. It was the old woman in green. Her appearance caused everything to become strange, even Master Ashenpine was startled. 2 female cultivators named Zhao. However, one of them was a 40-year-old, beautiful, middle-aged woman, and the other was a wrinkle-filled old woman. However, one could tell that there was a shocking similarity between them. This is not an avatar. It's the Yang Yin ancestral spell. Master Ashenpine's expression changed and a thought flashed through his mind. He had thought of a very old legend of a forbidden spell. This spell was terrifying and went against morals. It was extremely difficult to cultivate, and until now, almost no one had succeeded in doing so. However, Master Ashenpine had to believe it, as there was someone before him who had cultivated this forbidden technique and reached the level of 3 ancestors. The Yang Yin ancestral spell was for a female cultivators to get pregnant with a girl. Then this girl would grow up in the mother with a special spell to cause the mother and daughter to share the same body. Later, the daughter would form a cultivation couple with someone else and get pregnant with a girl again. Then the 3 would use the special spell to fuse into one. This was the method used to cause one's cultivation level to increase greatly, and because it was the fusion of 3 souls, their divine senses would be extremely powerful. The old woman in green didn't explain but took a step forward and let out a cold snort. Her hands formed a seal and she inhaled, creating a powerful suction force. Master Ashenpine was within the suction force, and he felt like all his life force was going to be sucked out. But his expression immediately returned to normal. He sneered and held the jade bottle tighter. It couldn't be placed inside his storage space, or else he would have already safely put it away. He didn't waste any time with the old woman and used his powerful cultivation to leave this place. Although he was shocked by the yin-yang ancestral spell, he was confident in leaving. At this moment, his left hand reached at the void and golden light appeared. The light transformed into tens of thousands of flying swords, and with a point of his finger, they flew toward the old woman in green. At the same time, Master Ashenpine hit his forehead with his left hand and a ray of red light flew out. The red light looked like a nascent soul, but if you looked closely, it was clearly not a nascent soul. The little person let out a sharp shrill as the blood light wrapped around it and it charged straight at the old woman. When the old woman saw the little person, her expression immediately changed. She waved her right hand and an ancient, copper bowl appeared. She immediately threw it forward. The moment the copper bowl appeared, it began to spin and flew at the little person. The little person's eyes released a blinding bloodlight, and it let out a scream that could shatter metal. A rumble echoed and the copper bowl collapsed into countless fragments. At the same time, the countless golden swords flew toward the old woman in green along with the little person. Time was of the essence, and Master Ashenpine didn't have time to deal with the old woman in green. Ripples appeared around him and he was about to leave. However, just as he took half a step into the ripples, a withered arm stuck out from the void and reached at his right hand. It unexpectedly is the 4th ancestral realm. Master Ashenpine's pupils contracted, but it was too late to think. His left hand reached out at the withered arm and a thunderous rumble echoed. Master Ashenpine groaned and his face immediately turned pale. Peak mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer. Master Ashenpine's left arm felt numb and was completely black. Yellow liquid immediately secreted from his arm. He was poisoned. Borrowing the power of this force, he stepped into the ripples. An even older woman stepped out from the ripples. She looked like she had stepped out from a coffin. She also wore green and had lost all her hair, making her look extremely terrifying. Her eyes gave off a ghostly light as blood came out from the corner of her mouth. She waved her right hand, breaking the rain of golden swords, and grabbed the little person. After sealing it, she chased after Master Ashenpine through the ripples. Master Ashenpine's expression was pale. He didn't think the old woman in green would have perfectly hit her cultivation level and managed to launch a sneak attack without him knowing. The old woman's spell also contained a strange poison that was attempting to circulate through his entire body, but he forcibly suppressed it. As long as I can leave this crack, there will be no time limit. With my numerous magic treasures, this old woman isn't my match. The moment Master Ashenpine stepped out from the ripples, he wanted to leave, but the old woman immediately caught up. The two of them constantly attacked each other with spells, and a heaven-shaking rumble echoed across the mountain. They were closing in on the crack in the black light restriction. At this moment, the crack was only 20 feet wide, and it was recovering even faster. Master Ashenpine's eyes lit up and he recited a strange chant. The moment he did so, the 7-colored light in the sky flashed violently and descended from the sky. The 7 rays of light turned into 7 swords that shot at the old woman in green. The old woman's expression was gloomy as her hands formed a seal and a large, violent light shield appeared before her. The moment it appeared, an ancient aura appeared with it, and there was a hint of devilish energy inside. The seven-colored light immediately collided with the shield and an even more violent rumble echoed. The old woman coughed out blood, but her expression became even more fierce. Her right hand hit her forehead, causing her body to shiver, and her origin soul flew out. The moment her origin soul flew out, the old woman in green and the beautiful middle-aged woman in green who had just stepped out from the ripples also hit their foreheads. Their origin souls also flew out and they quickly fused together. The three origin souls perfectly fused together in an instant and turned into a ray of light that shot toward Master Ashenpine. Master Ashenpine's expression became ferocious. He clenched his teeth as he moved the bottle to his left hand and waved his right. A bead immediately appeared in his right hand. Without hesitation, Master Ashenpine threw the bead at the old woman's origin soul. Summon, defying one. Master Ashenpine roared, and the bead gave off a ghostly light. It caused the seven-colored light to rush over and be absorbed by the bead. Shortly after, the bead collapsed and a bolt of seven-colored lightning shot out toward the old woman's origin soul. At the same time, the old woman's origin soul let out a screech and three restrictions flew out. The moment they appeared, the world changed colors and even the black light restriction trembled. These three restrictions were extremely powerful existences among the life and death restrictions. Life, life, death. As her divine sense spread out, the three restrictions fused to form a destructive force that could destroy the heavens, and it collided with the seven-colored lightning. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The mountain trembled and a large portion of it began to collapse. The fog was pushed back and all the figures floating in the fog paused. All the enlightened ones floated toward the source of the rumble. Under this powerful impact, the origin soul split into three. They were very transparent and quickly returned to their bodies. Master Ashenpine didn't expect her restrictions to be so powerful. His body was pushed back by the force and he coughed out blood. His left hand was already being affected by a powerful poison. His flesh and blood had turned into yellow liquid and even his bones had begun to melt. Under this impact, his left arm was torn off and dissipated. The jade bottle flew out under this impact and flew toward the crack that was now only 10 feet wide. Master Ashenpine's eyes were bloodshot as he charged after the jade bottle. The old woman's eyes lit up and she also charged at the crack. Just at this instant, a white figure shot out and moved at the speed of a late-stage Nirvana Shatter cultivator. It moved past the old woman in green and Master Ashenpine. It grabbed the bottle and without any hesitation rushed out of the crack. The moment this person came out of the crack, his right hand pushed down at the crack and sent out a restriction. The speed at which the crack healed increased greatly. Loser how? Master Ashenpine was startled before letting out a roar, and he charged out from the crack. He was about to chase after the white figure. However, the moment he stepped out from the crack, he stepped into the restrictions Wang Lin had set up earlier. A rumbling sound occurred as many restrictions were set off and caused Master Ashenpine to pause for a moment. The old woman's three bodies fused into one and rushed out of the crack like a bolt of lightning. She chased after Wang Lin. Wang Lin had completely hidden himself the moment he entered the crack. He had been hiding near the crack, waiting for a chance. This place was very strange. It was impossible to spread out your divine sense too far inside the black light restriction. As a result, he had the perfect opportunity to hide himself. At this moment, he was holding the jade bottle and quickly charging through the fog. The strange muttering sounds continued to enter his ears. At this moment, shadowy figures floated toward him and passed by. The old woman in green was chasing closely behind, but with two speed talismans, Wang Lin's speed was unimaginable. As they moved, the distance between them gradually grew wider. You deserve to die for stealing my belongings. The old woman in green revealed a vicious gaze. She waved her hand and a poison mist immediately appeared. In the blink of an eye, the image of a poisonous scorpion appeared in the seven-colored sky. The poisonous scorpion was tens of thousands of feet large. Its tail lashed out, creating an afterimage as it shot at Wang Lin. Wang Lin suddenly turned around and a cold light appeared in his eyes. He raised his left hand and threw a punch at the scorpion's tail. There was an earth-shattering rumble, and the scorpion tail trembled and immediately collapsed. Just at this moment, Master Ashenpine also ran out, and his eyes were bloodshot. He took out another bead and ignored the heartache he felt. He threw it and shouted, "Summon, defying one." After he spoke, all the 7-colored light in the world quickly gathered toward the bead and rushed inside. Then the bead suddenly collapsed. The moment it collapsed, the 7-colored light in the world flashed violently and ripples echoed. 7-colored light gathered quickly within the ripple until a giant finger was formed. Heavenly Fate Finger. This place is indeed related to the All-Seer. When Wang Lin saw the giant finger in the sky, his pupils shrank for a moment. The giant finger seemed to have absorbed a large portion of the 7-colored light in the sky, causing the sky to dim. A thunderous roar echoed as it descended toward the escaping Wang Lin as if it wanted to crush him. The eyes of the old woman in green shined as her hands formed a seal before pointing to between her eyebrows. 3 restrictions immediately flew out. They were the 3 powerful restrictions from before that were the peak of the life and death restrictions. Life, death, life. The old woman's hoarse voice echoed and the 3 restrictions fused together into a life and death restriction energy. It contained the essence of life and death as it shot toward Wang Lin. While Wang Lin moved, he tried to store the bottle in his storage space, but something very strange happened. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't put it in his storage space. Wang Lin was actually prepared for this because if it could really be put into the storage space, then there would have been no need for Master Ashenpine to be holding it. He moved like a bolt of lightning under the effect of the 2 speed talismans and shot straight ahead. The giant finger formed by the 7-colored light descended with an earth-shattering roar. It got closer and closer to Wang Lin. The old woman's 3 life and death restrictions were chasing closely after. Under the combined attacks of the 2 powerful mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Since he had dared to steal food from the mouth of the tiger, he was confident in holding them off. Wang Lin suddenly turned and his figure began to swell. A dense ancient god aura filled this 7-colored world. Then ripples appeared around his body as he grew to 100 feet, 500 feet, 1,000 feet. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a 3,000-foot-tall titan. 5 clear ancient god stars rotated rapidly between his eyebrows, and a 6th star began to appear. The skin on his large body was rough and formed a rune-like texture. His giant-like body would cause anyone who saw it to feel a sense of fear from their soul. Master Ashenpine's pupils shrank. He had never seen this kind of spell, and his mind was startled. The old woman's eyes shined brightly and were filled with disbelief. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to turn into his true ancient god body. He turned around, looked up at the sky, and directly punched at the descending heavenly fate finger. This was a true punch of an ancient god, and its power could shock the world. This punch was done when Wang Lin was in the form of a true ancient god, so it also contained a heaven-defying will. The thunderous rumble quickly echoed as Wang Lin's giant fist collided with the heavenly fate finger. An indescribable impact spread along with the fierce rumble. The heavenly fate finger began to collapse and dissipate as the powerful force collided with it. Countless specks of 7-colored light scattered and it collapsed even faster. The whole finger unexpectedly disintegrated under a thunderous rumble, and the countless specks of 7-colored light filled the world. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin's body trembled, and he borrowed the force to leap with this 3,000 feet body. He crossed an immeasurable distance in one leap and arrived at the foot of the wall-like mountain. Without hesitating, he kicked off the ground and jumped over the mountain before him. The life and death restriction quickly followed and arrived near Wang Lin in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin was currently above the mountain, and his right hand reached at the void. A giant crack appeared, seeming like he had torn the 7-colored world apart. A giant trident that was completely black appeared from the crack. This trident was about 4,000 feet long and pierced the sky. The moment it appeared, an earth-shaking aura spread out. Dense ancient god aura filled the area as Wang Lin grabbed the trident and swept it before his body. 3 black lines appeared across the tip of the trident as if the world was being split open. Holding the trident, Wang Lin stood like a god on top of the mountain. He swept at the restriction with the trident. The restriction closed in and instantly split into three. It was about to charge at Wang Lin, but at this moment, the trident swept by. The ancient god power inside Wang Lin's body rushed into the trident. The trident released a black light and swept across the restriction. A thunderous rumble echoed as the three parts of the restriction were cut in half. The black light from the trident became even more intense and turned into three dragons that devoured the restriction. After devouring it, the trident trembled and three marks appeared on it. It looked as if Wang Lin was holding three black dragons. These dragons were extremely fierce and continued to roar as they twisted their bodies. They revealed monstrous gazes toward Master Ashen Pine and the old woman in green. Wang Lin's gaze fell on the two people chasing after him. When his gaze swept by, it was as if an icy wind had pierced their bodies and made their bodies feel a sudden chill. Anyone can take the heavenly treasure. What is this stealing you speak of? If the two of you continue, then like the heavenly finger and the restriction, I'll slaughter you both. Wang Lin's words echoed as he turned and shot off into the distance. This scene caused Master Ashen Pine and the old woman in green to gasp. This is, Master Ashen Pine's mind trembled and couldn't calm down for a long time. He had cultivated for a very long time and knew of many body refining techniques, but none could produce such a large body. What shocked him the most was that he didn't feel like the body was fake, it was very real. The old woman in green's face was a bit pale as she stared at the giant figure that was about to disappear over the mountain. She clenched her teeth and gave chase. Although Master Ashen Pine was shocked, he had prepared for 1,000 years and had spent a lot of treasures for this. He wasn't willing to just let it be taken from him. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot and he also gave chase. His right hand pointed at his left shoulder several times and a new arm formed from the seven-colored light. Wang Lin's figure leaped over the mountain and didn't pause as he moved further away. In just a moment, he arrived at the valley where he had placed the restriction. He crossed it with one step and was about to charge ahead. Just at this instant, the old woman chasing after him revealed a vicious gaze. Her hands formed a seal and she pointed at the restriction she had left behind here earlier. The grass under Wang Lin immediately withered and black ashes flew into the sky. They turned into a giant vortex and were about to surround Wang Lin. Wang Lin let out a muffled groan as he collided with the restriction and struggled to get through. The vortex formed by the black ashes chased after Wang Lin. At the same time, the old woman's eyes revealed a strange light and she sped up. She jumped off the mountain and instantly closed in. She entered the restriction in the valley. Master Ashen Pine was behind and quickly followed, but his eyes lit up. He hesitated for a moment outside the restriction in the valley and didn't fully enter. It wasn't that he had seen through its weakness, but he was cautious of the old woman in green. Just as the old woman in green entered the restriction, Wang Lin suddenly turned around and pointed at the vortex. The black vortex suddenly turned around and shot toward the old woman in green. Shortly after, countless restriction lights lit up in the valley the old woman was in. These lights were blinding, and the thunderous rumble was enough to shake one's heart. Countless restrictions appeared from the ground and immediately surrounded the old woman. At a glance, there were tens of thousands of them. These restrictions gave off a ghostly light. After fusing the life and death restriction and annihilation restriction, their power was earth-shattering. The moment Wang Lin activated them, all of them rushed toward the old woman. There was also that black vortex. It instantly shrouded the area, making it impossible to see inside. However, the thunderous roars and muffled groans of the old woman could be heard clearly. At this moment, the earth trembled and the old woman's angry roars became even more intense, and there were flashes of blood-red light inside the vortex. The roars continued. It was clear that it was difficult for her to leave. She was in a life-or-death crisis. This scene caused Master Ashen Pine's expression to change greatly. With his wisdom, he immediately realized that this restriction was placed by the old woman but was taken over by Wang Lin. Wang Lin had led her into this killing formation. This person is also proficient in restrictions. Master Ashen Pine looked at the restriction that had completely trapped the old woman. He could clearly feel the power of the restriction. He took a deep breath, but he didn't give up on fighting for the jade bottle. Old woman Zhao being trapped is good for me. As long as I kill that person named Lu, I can take back the jade. With my understanding of this place, no one can find me. There was a flash of killing intent in Master Ashenpine's eyes, and he made a decision instantly. He moved around the restrictions outside the valley and his hands formed a seal. Tens of thousands specks of golden light appeared and all shot at Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He had been waiting for this chance. He couldn't battle two mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators at once. He had to injure or trap one of them before he could be safe to battle. Master Ashenpine was malicious even back on Painlai. Seeing the spell closing in, Wang Lin let out a cold snort and waved the trident in his hand. The three dragons roared and the rain of swords was knocked into the sky. They weren't able to close in on Wang Lin. Master Ashenpine's eyes revealed a vicious gaze and reached out at the void. A crack to this storage space opened and a flying sword flew out. This sword was crystal clear, and the moment it appeared, the aura of a pseudo-Nirvana void treasure surrounded the area. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. Just at this moment, Master Ashenpine let out a roar and threw the crystal sword. The sword let out a heaven-shattering roar as it flew toward Wang Lin. His first real battle with a mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator made Wang Lin excited. He didn't retreat and instead swept the trident forward. The three dragons unexpectedly flew out from the trident and attempted to devour the crystal sword. What was even more strange was that the three marks that had formed after devouring the life and death restriction shined. They flew out and fused with the three black dragons. This caused the aura of life and death restriction to suddenly appear. This was the true power of the trident. This video will end here.